The government shutdown leading to air travel disruptions. More than 8,000 flights were delayed across the country yesterday. Air traffic control staffing issues were reported at 22 locations over the weekend. Joining us right now to discuss it is former FAA Administrator Randy Babbitt. And Randy, how dire is the situation at this point? Are Americans who are flying less safe?
It's a tough situation, and the worst part is it's self-accelerating. The more we ask people to serve more overtime, working 10, 12, 15-hour shifts, they can't keep doing that, so they have to call in, which just exacerbates the shortage.
I mean, these are people who are asking to come into work every day, but we're not paying them. These are people who get paid, I think, on a monthly basis. Most government workers do. They're going to miss their first full paycheck come this Friday. What does it look like at that point? What have we seen? I mean, this is already the second longest shutdown we've ever seen. But what happens next from the perspective of how much you expect to see more fallout?
Well, I would unfortunately imagine that if this continues, it will simply get worse. We started with the controller shortage anyway, which stems all the way back to COVID. The FAA, like a lot of companies, laid off excess employees. Traffic was down to 30% of normal, and so they did buyouts and things. But you don't just call them back. It takes years to train a controller. And the traffic came back far faster than expected. And now when you add to it the complications of the shutdown, no pay, we've got a royal mess on our hands.
Yeah, Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, said that he is now seeing people who are dropping out of these training schools for this, saying, why am I doing this? Why am I going through this process if there's the chance that I'm not going to get paid over something like a government shutdown?
That's a problem, and I suspect, well, nobody has clean hands here, but picking and choosing who's going to be paid is like pawns in a poker game. That's not really fair either to the employees. You've got some sections of the federal government are getting paid, others are not, and I personally think that this is a pretty important sector of our government, since when you consider the contribution to our economy, what this transportation system provides.
How do you see a way out of this at this point, or at all? And again, back to that original question, are we less safe traveling at this point, or is this simply a situation where you're going to deal with a lot of frustrations and potential delays?
I think you will. It's an incredibly complex system and interdependent. And when one area begins to have a problem, it multiplies. Example would be if the weather, was difficult in the New York area, busy area, and you had, shortages there. Well, that's going to back up into the system. You're going to have ground holds, ground stops. Flights get delayed, crews become illegal. The flight crews, they can't just, fly endlessly. And if they're 2 hours late, well, that means that's 2 hours they're not going to fly somewhere else today. So it's a self-multiplying problem, unfortunately. And I think the solution would be, a first step would be pay the people that are doing the work they're doing and put some of this behind us.
But back to that original question, though, are you less safe flying today than you would have been a month ago?
No, I don't think. The good news of the system is it's built around safety. And when we don't have enough employees, whether the airline is short of crews, whether the controller shortages are there, you simply just bring the system down. And you may see that. You may see that you just accept the fact we're only going to run 70% of the flights because that's what we can handle safely.
Last week, we saw a situation with Alaska Airlines where they had to shut down thousands of their flights, I think, because of a computer outage. There was a technology outage that they faced, and that seems to be a problem that we've seen more and more frequently. Do you have concerns about that?
Well, yeah, not a concern, an operational concern. If I was a shareholder in the company, I would be worried. But what the biggest issue is, these airlines have incredibly complex, interwoven computer systems. They track the crew legality, passengers, weight and balance, all the things that need to be done. And there's hundreds of these systems. And if one of them has a problem, unfortunately, it's like a virus. It will spread throughout the system to the point that you're either going to have to fix it or bring the system down and bring it back manually.